Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you. Nice to see all of you and to welcome our online friends today to Sunday morning Dharma service. How is everyone? How are you feeling today? Good? Good? I feel a little low today. I feel a little heavy-hearted today. And then when these moments happen, because we're human, I ask myself if I can embrace the discomfort of just being human. And sometimes we feel low and sometimes we feel great joy, right? So then I was walking past this, our Ilwansang, this one circle image on the wall. And just like it was shining on me, I was reminded that that we have this all-encompassing ability, this oneness, this peace that is not affected by our low feeling or our joy feeling. It's always present. So our suffering is optional. So with that, I hope we all today, no matter where or how you're feeling, that we have that peaceful state of mind that we gather today with the energy that we cultivate in this room and take beyond this practice into our daily lives. So we will practice together with this mind. We will have sitting meditation and chanting meditation. And also we will have a Dharma talk by Reverend Jieun. And we'll have some movement by Remy. But before we do that, let's begin our practice and stand for our 4 bows to Dharmakaya Buddha. Please rise. So please bring your palms together in front of your chest. And we stand before Ilwansang, our Dharmakaya Buddha that represents our true nature. I bow in gratitude to the grace of heaven and earth, honoring the infinite beneficence of nature and the universe. I bow in gratitude to the grace of parents, honoring the beneficence from parents, ancestors, and all those who have had a nurturing role in my life. I bow in gratitude to the grace of fellow beings, recognizing the truth of interconnectedness. I bow in gratitude to the grace of laws, those that guide us, protect us, and promote justice. And now let us take a moment to turn to our neighbor Buddhas and with our open hearts and smiles, say good morning with our bows. And then you may please remain standing because then Remy will come up for movement.
With distance, and we'll reach arms up to take a yawn and stretch and reach through each side, feeling this yawn through your joints and also through all of the soft tissue, the connective tissue that weaves through your entire body. Let's take a big yawn through the soft palate and letting that go. And then we'll take a yawn through one side, through the right side, reaching with the right arm, yawning through the right palate, the right ear. And letting that go. And then into the other side, the left palate, the left inner ear. Nice. And then finding a soft stance for your knees, we'll shift weight onto the fronts of the feet and start taking a gentle drum of the heels into the ground. And as you continue in this movement, allowing your pelvis to hang from your diaphragm, allowing the wave created by the impact of your feet into the ground to travel up through all your soft tissue with a gentle flick of your fingers toward the ground, as if you're trying to flick some water off your body. The vibration travels through the calves, the thighs, the soft tissue surrounding your pelvis, the arch of your low back, the round of your upper back, the arch of your knees, your neck, and the roundness of the back of your head, so that a paintbrush on top of your head would wobble because the neck is unlocked. Allowing this to move the breath through your body a few more moments to gather as much intensity as you wish here. You might even think about flicking the flesh off your body onto the floor. Nice. And then settling. And in relative stillness, softening and feeling into the after effect of that movement, the vibration, the warmth in your body, spreading the toes, and taking a gentle rock along the length of your foot. Feeling into the crescent shape of the footprint, you might start to feel an absence of pressure under the arch of your foot. Take a little roundness in your rock through that length, so that as you come up toward the pinky toe, you roll in to the big toe part of the ball of your foot. So this rock starts to become a curve. And we'll soften our joints, unlocking all the domed joint surfaces all the way up your body. Send this now around in a circle, tracing the edge of that dome under your foot, which spreads and receives force up and out from the ground, changing directions. And then distilling this toward relative stillness will allow a continual swimming of all of our domed joint articulations in the waters of our soft tissue, allowing fluid to flow through your ankles, through the domed surfaces of your knees, shifting always in relation to all of the other surfaces, the domes of the balls of your hip sockets, the domes of each vertebra, allowed to swim through the fluidity of your body tissues here, so that your body is sort of snake-like interlocking of many pendulums. And then we'll start to shift the weight forward and back, locating the weight of your pelvis. So we'll start to swing the weight of the pelvis forward and back, riding the ramp of the feet. And you can allow your arms to become a counterbalance. And here, as we swing the pelvis, we're swinging it from the diaphragm. So the pelvis and the belly. And here's another opportunity to gently build into some activation here on the way forward. You might come up onto the balls of your feet, feeling some warmth build in your thighs. And seeing if you can keep your heart relatively still while the pendulum of your low body swings forward and back, allowing this to move your breath. Really hinging back and then sending the whole masses forward. Nice. And then we'll settle this a little bit so that we can shift it into a circle. Keeping that same center of the pendulum, your diaphragm, with the knees soft, angles changing at the hips, thigh bones internally, externally rotating, and then changing directions. We'll distill this towards stillness. Bring the feet together underneath your body and pour all the weight down through your left foot all the way into the floor while you drag your right heel up in contact with your leg to the height of your knee, and then slowly send it down. Shifting weight to the other foot, dropping your weight into the earth before you lift to root your balance deep inside the earth here, shifting and then drawing up while you sink down so that you can start to feel as you lift, you're getting lower toward the ground. Nice. And then we can start to take one foot out front, extending through the knee, drawing the heel back against the knee, sliding it down, shifting weight. Inhaling as you draw the foot up, exhaling as you press into the ground. And then planting both feet underneath you, we'll take a hinge. And in this hinge, hands can come to the shoulders as you find a twist just through your torso while the points of your hips point directly forward. Noticing that you can separate the movement of your torso from your lower body, keeping the arch of your lower back intact. Press through your feet to slowly bring this up and slowly sink. So we have the twist in the torso while the lower body has a stable foundation into the ground. Spreading, relaxing the toes, feeling the connection through the dome of the arch of your feet. Nice. And then coming up into standing, we'll take the same idea, sinking into the left foot and twisting to the right, slowly lowering to both feet, twisting to the left and slowly lowering. Exhaling in your twist, keeping the foot connected to the leg as you twist, keeping your knees pointing forward, getting a little shorter as you lift the knee. Nice, yeah, it's a balance challenge. And then separating the feet wide, we'll take a little bounce here, bringing the weight of the pelvis down, keeping the arch of the low back, opening the knees toward the pinky toe side of the foot. We'll find a gentle cascade of the torso side to side, so it's a spilling from your sacrum all the way to the top of the head, where we have the stable foundation, the pulse into the arches of the feet. Start to send your tail behind you to take yourself into a forward fold. And at the bottom of your fold, give yourself a little nod or a head shake no to decompress your spine. We'll take the right hand to the left shin, twist, bringing left fingertips up to the ceiling, and find them with your eye gaze, taking a deep breath. Then keep the fingertips floating to the ceiling while you pour from the top of your head toward the earth. A deep stretch from your floating fingertips all the way through your neck, out the top of your head. And one more breath. Twisting to the other side. Left arm cycles to the right shin or foot or floor. Right fingertips to the ceiling and a deep breath. Pouring from the top of the head to the floor while you continue reaching one more breath into the space between ear and shoulder. And then sinking the hand down, we'll find the weight shift again. Start to allow the heart to make a figure 8 shape in this sweep. Keeping the arch of the low back, connecting with the activation in one leg, one glute, and then the other. We'll take a figure 8 sweep, allowing the arms to hang, and paint them up the wall in front of you as you slowly pour the weight of your heart, and lastly, your head into your feet. Keep the arm swing going. Allowing this weight shift to change the shape of your rib cage. And then finding yourself in center, you can relax your arms down. We'll step feet underneath the hips and bring palm over palm toward your danjun. And we'll breathe and collect warmth into this energy center, in through the nose and out through the nose. And that's where we'll finish. Thank you.
Take a moment to make yourselves comfortable. And we will continue our practice with seated meditation. And Nancy will guide us in the method of sitting meditation.
The method of sitting meditation is simple and easy. Sit comfortably on the floor or in a chair. Breathe in, grab all your tension, and breathe it out. Open up your chest and heart. Stretch up tall and align your spine from your neck to your tailbone. Relax your shoulders and arms, then allow your hands to rest on your knees. Bring your attention to your breath. As you exhale, release all mental and physical tension. Invite your attention to abide in your chi energy field, which is called Danjiang. This is located about 2 inches below your navel and is the power center of your breathing. Open your eyes and gaze downward over the end of your nose and to the floor. Keep your mouth closed and allow the tip of your tongue to rest gently against the roof of your mouth. When your mind is concentrated and calm, pure and clear saliva may gather in the mouth. You may swallow it. Relax your facial muscles and notice your gentle smile. If your face or body begins to itch, do not scratch. This is just a sign of your energy circulating in your body. Simply note the itching and let it pass. If your legs ache unbearably, you may change positions very slowly and quietly so that you maintain a calm stillness and do not interrupt others. When thoughts arise in your mind, do not be discouraged or disturbed by them. Simply focus on your breathing without reacting to or playing with those thoughts. Recognize them as thoughts. They will disappear by themselves. And remember, keep bringing your awareness back to your Danjiang breathing center. If you continue practicing meditation for a long period of time, you will rest in the realm of samadhi, deep meditation, in which the mind is calm, concentrated, perfectly focused, and at peace, with no distinction between self and others, time and place. We are grateful to sit quietly together, finding the still point within. May we be here now, aware of our ever calm and alert spirit.
You may slowly open your eyes. And we will continue our meditation practice by chanting the O1 Song Vow and the Heart Sutra. Please open your booklets to pages 4 and 5. Ilwan is the realm of samadhi beyond words and speech, gateway of birth and death, transcending being and non-being, the origin of heaven and earth, parents, fellow beings, laws, the true nature of Buddhas, enlightened masters, unenlightened people, and sentient beings. One manifests as both permanence and impermanence, viewed as permanence. One unfolds into an infinite world that is ever abiding, spontaneous, just as it is viewed as impermanent. Unfolds into infinite worlds through the cycle of formation, duration, decay, and extinction of the universe, and the birth, aging, illness, and death of all beings, according to how we use our minds and bodies. The 4 forms of birth we transform through the 6 realms of existence, progressing or regressing, grace arising from harm or harm from grace. For we unawakened beings vow to practice heartedly, modeling ourselves after Ilwan Song, the Dharma Kaya Buddha, by cultivating our minds and bodies, deeply knowing human affairs, universal principles thoroughly, using our minds and bodies skillfully, thus progressing rather than regressing, and receiving grace rather than harm, till we attain the great empowerment, feel one and become one with the nature of Ilwan. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, when deeply practicing Prajnaparamita, realized that all 5 aggregates are empty, thus became free from all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The same is true. Sensations, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They do not appear, disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease in emptiness. Form no sensations, no perceptions, impulses, no consciousness, eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, object of mind, no realm of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind consciousness. consciousness, ignorance nor extinction of ignorance, old age and death nor extinction of them, suffering no cause of suffering, cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment with no thing to attain. Bodhisattva relies on prajnaparamita, therefore the mind has no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. From delusion one dwells in nirvana. Buddhas of the past, present, and future rely on prajnaparamita, attain supreme enlightenment. Therefore know that prajnaparamita is the great mantra. Great enlightening mantra is the unsurpassed and unequaled mantra, which is able to eliminate all suffering. This is true, not false, so proclaim the prajnaparamita mantra, which has gone beyond, far beyond, now awake. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Now take a moment to drop your shoulders gently and roll your neck in one direction. And in the other direction. Stretch up tall, reach for the sky, breathing in and breathing out. Twist to one side, twisting the spine. You can look over your shoulder. And to the other side. And then you may relax your legs, stretch out your legs and your knees, and prepare yourself to listen to a Dharma talk by Reverend Jieun. The title of her talk is The Moment of Resolve, Commanding the Nature Through Choice in Action. Please bring your palms together to welcome Reverend Jieun.
Good morning, everyone. This is cool. This is the first time for me to do this PPT thing. So the title of today's talk may sound a little lofty. The moment of resolve, commanding the nature through choice and action. But it's really about something very close to our everyday lives, the choices we make and the courage to follow through with them. So commanding the nature is the title of chapter 12 in our One Buddhist scripture. It contains 16 short teachings, and today I will focus on just two of them, the 13th and the 14th. But before we get there, let's pause and ask, what does it mean to command the nature? Commanding the nature, it's the translation from Korean word solsong, and it's Chinese character. So sol means to lead, command, and song means the nature, innate character, or inborn quality. And this phrase, 소성, has its roots in Confucianism. In the Doctrine of the Mean, one of the classic Confucian texts, it says, the first line, it means what heaven has conferred is called the nature. The second line, to accord with this nature is called the way. The last line means cultivating the way is called education. So the character soul basically means to lead or to commend, but in classical texts, depending on the context, it can also mean to follow. Why follow? Because to lead implies not only taking the lead, but also that others are led. So the idea of to follow naturally arises. That's why it can be translated in two directions, actively as to lead or commend, or passively as to follow. In Won Buddhism, the translating committee chose a stronger word, commend. Why not just follow? I think it's because they wanted to highlight something essential in Won Buddhist teaching: our own agency, our willpower, and our ability to choose. And Venerable Chongsan, our second Dharma master, gave a vivid metaphor of this, what it means to commend the nature. So let me read a quote. Think of the mind like a horse. Our discriminating mind, the part of us that is always judging, comparing, and reacting, is like the horse itself. But our original nature, which is calm and clear, is like the horse trainer. If the horse suddenly tries to run into the grain field, the trainer has to hold the reins and guide it back. In the same way, our original nature needs to take the lead and guide the restless, wandering mind. Our true nature is neither good nor bad. It's more like a spacious, empty field. It depends on how we cultivate it and what choices we draw from it. So follow might sound easier, but it can also suggest passively going along. And commend reminds us that we have responsibility, the power to guide our own mind and direct our own life. This is why our founding master Sotaesan gave us these 16 items for commending the nature. Now let's look at the two of them. So they say, even at the risk of your life, do what is right, no matter how much you may dislike doing it. Even at the risk of your life, do not do what is wrong, no matter how much you may want to do it. So obvious, right? So whenever I read these lines, I felt a bit of pressure from the phrase, even at the risk of your life. How does it sound to you? No, honestly, for a long time, I found it heavy and even intimidating. But Venerable Chongsan, our second head Dharma master, explained it in a very practical way. He said, For ordinary people with weak willpower, it's not easy to carry something through to the end, even if they know it is the right thing to do. But if you give up halfway, you never accomplish anything. That is why, for what is truly right, we need the kind of resolve that feels as serious as risking our lives. This is the example that Mr. Jeongsan himself gave. He said, think about how we begin a spiritual practice. At first, when we take up meditation or chanting, we start with enthusiasm. For the first day or two, we feel diligent and committed. But then, excuses begin to creep in. I'm too tired today. I didn't sleep well last night. I'm so busy. I'm practicing tomorrow instead. And one excuse leads to another, and before we know, our practice starts to slip away. And it's really no difference from exercise, right? Maybe you promise yourself you'll go to the gym maybe 3 times a week, or you've started jogging in the morning. Excuse me. And at the beginning, you're motivated, and you even buy new shoes. But after a week, the excuse starts. It's raining today, and I have a meeting today. I skipped just this once. Soon the habit weakens, and it gets harder and harder to start again. So what Mr. Jeongsan is telling us is that our habitual tendencies, like laziness, distraction, or avoidance, are strong. They don't disappear on their own. To overcome them, we need a certain mindset, a firm inner voice that says, no matter what, I will not give in. Without that resolve, we fall back into old patterns. And this isn't just about meditation or exercise. Deep down, we already know many things that are right. We know kindness is better than harshness, that generosity brings more peace than selfishness. We know holding on to resentment only hurts us. But knowing isn't the same as doing. Living it out day after day is not easy. One of our previous Dharma master, Venerable Chua-san, he had visited our center, One Dharma Center, once. And he said, actually, I remember he was giving a Dharma talk here, and this was a story that I heard at that time. And he said it was extremely difficult for him to correct what seemed like a small habit, walking with his feet turned outward, like this. So for him, it took tremendous effort and constant mindfulness. And just to change the way he walked required determination day after day. If even a small outward habit like that requires such effort, then how much more does it take to change the deep habits of our mind and temperament? For me, to be honest, I'm not the kind of person who does everything with fiery passion and intensity. I tend to give just enough effort not to fail, but not necessarily to excel either. Take exercise, for example. I've been trying to make exercise part of my daily routine. When it comes to jogging, I don't really try to improve my speed. I actually enjoy what's called slow jogging. Have you heard about this term? Why? Because if I push myself too much and don't see the result I want, I know I get frustrated and probably give up altogether. Slow jogging feels good enough for me, and it keeps me going. My spiritual practice has been similar. For most of my life, I've leaned more toward consistency than on intensity. I thought, as long as I keep at it, that's pretty enough. I will get there someday anyway. But one day, something happened that made me realize I may need to change this attitude. That day, I lived almost the whole day pretty mindfully, with focused mind in each and every work. My mind stayed steady from morning until evening. But toward the end of the day, I faced a situation that gives me a sort of stress. Maybe it touched an old wound, a place of fear and tension that has always been difficult for me. On the surface, it wasn't a big deal at all. From the outside, nothing serious had happened. But when I returned to my room that evening, I suddenly felt the urge to escape. So what did I do? I clicked YouTube and began watching video after video. It felt as though if I turned off the screen, I would have to face the stress directly. So instead, I distracted myself until I got too tired, and eventually I went to bed. And that night, I had a dream. In the dream, I had done something terrible, something that deeply hurt people around me. They saw it and looked at me with such disappointment. In the dream, I wept bitterly. My heart was crushed because I had hurt the people that I love. Then I woke up. It was 2:00 in the morning. The feeling from the dream was still vivid, almost painfully real. As I lay there in the middle of the night, my heart was still racing, and the sorrow felt so strong. I asked myself, why did I dream this? What does it mean? Was it just a random? The event in the dream was absurd, something that would never actually happen in my real life. But the feeling of regret was so strong that I began to wonder if there was any message from it. Then suddenly, it hit me like a shock. The mistake I made in the dream, crossing a line in a moment of impulse, thinking to myself, maybe just this once is okay. Maybe nobody will notice. It was exactly the same state of mind I had just a few hours earlier when I escaped into YouTube instead of facing my stress. The details were different, but the inner attitude was the same. It was that subtle moment of knowing something isn't right, but letting myself go along with it anyway. And in that moment of realization, I thought, if I keep allowing this habit of running away from stress, of ignoring what I know is right, someday I will face real regret, not just in a dream, but in my actual life. That night, lying awake at 2:00 in the morning, I made a quiet but firm resolution. I will not keep running away. I will face my fears. I will face my stress. even if it's uncomfortable, even if it feels painful. I will not escape. This happened in a very short moment, actually. But it felt like a turning point. Of course, I know I'm not the only one. We all have our own ways of avoiding what's uncomfortable, don't we? Some of us reach for food or alcohol, and some of us reach for our phones, scrolling endlessly through social media, news, and online shopping. Others binge watch shows late into the night, telling ourselves just one more episode. For a moment, it feels like the stress is gone, but it's temporary thing. But deep down, we know, it hasn't really gone anywhere. It's just been pushed down. The problem is when we repeat these small escapes over and over, they add up. Little by little, they darken our mind. So over time, what began as a small avoidance can grow into a heavier burden, sometimes even into anxiety or depression. And eventually, the moment comes when we can't avoid the result any longer. That's why these verses are so powerful. They remind us, even if I really don't want to do it, I will do what is right. Even if I desperately want to do it, I will not do what is wrong. It's not about going to a battlefield or literally risking our lives. It's about facing those everyday battles inside, the fear, the stress, the temptations, and choosing differently, even when it's hard. Of course, we all know that one resolution doesn't instantly change everything. Old habits don't disappear overnight. But having that moment of resolve is still so important because it means we've touched the place inside ourselves where change is possible. So instead of running away from fear, from discomfort, or from procrastination, let's turn and face them. Let's actually try. And if it's something we know we should not be doing, let's have the courage to stop. Sometimes the best thing we can do is simply to do it first, even before we feel like it. If it's something you've already decided to do, something you know you're supposed to do, don't wait until you feel inspired or motivated. I used to do that. Just do it and keep that promise to yourself. Because once we take action, our brain, our emotions, and even our energy, they catch up later. And it doesn't have to be big. Start small. Find a way to start it with something that feels comfortable or even easy. What matters isn't how big or dramatic the step is. It's that we take it. Think about it like this. You don't have to clean the whole house today. Just organize just one drawer that is messy. You don't have to solve every relationship problem. Just send one kind message or say one word of gratitude. You don't have to meditate for an hour. Just sit quietly for 5 minutes. Each small action itself already set changes in motion. Each of us has our own challenges. What feels very difficult for me may be easy for you, and what feels almost impossible for you may seem simple to someone else. But no matter who we are, every one of us has a particular edge we need to face in order to grow. So I invite you to reflect. What is that one area of your life that always feels vague and uncomfortable or difficult? It might be a habit you've struggled with for years or a fear you've kept avoiding. Now, instead of waiting for the perfect moment or trying to change everything at once, think of one small and simple step you can take. Just one. It could be as small as pausing for a mindful breath when stress arises, or spending just 5 quiet minutes before reaching for your phone, or finally taking that short walk you've been putting off. Change doesn't begin with something dramatic. It begins with something doable. And when we take that first small step, we prove to ourselves that transformation is possible. And here's something wonderful part. If we choose what is right, not only does it lead to good results, it feels good. We feel proud when you've done something consistent with our values. We feel a sense of self-efficacy when we've acted to take on a situation that was challenging instead of avoiding it. So let's not think of this path as grim or heavy. It's not forcing ourselves to suffer. As Venerable Jeongsan said, when we encounter something truly right, we shouldn't drag ourselves to it as if it were a burden. Instead, we should bring forth a heart of joy and passion and throw ourselves into it wholeheartedly, whether it's our study, our practice, or our daily work. That, he said, is what it truly means to commend the nature. The very act of doing what is right can bring its own joy and excitement. So once we taste that joy, it reinforces itself. It makes us want to continue. Sote-san reminded us there is such a thing as suffering that will eventually turn into happiness. Suffering that will eventually turn into happiness. Not all suffering does, but when it comes from choosing the right path, even hardship eventually turn into joy. My hope is that we find the courage to set a firm resolution to look straight as the most stubborn, sneaky habits within us. These are the habits that quietly slip in almost unnoticed, yet end up bringing suffering to ourselves and to those we love. If we can face even one of those habits with sincerity and determination, little by little, transformation becomes possible. And as we do, we discover that this path is not only about struggle, it is also about joy. So may we walk this path together with determination, with sincerity, and with joy. And may each small step we take today open the way to deep transformation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Reverend Jieun. I always am so grateful for her ability to have so much humility and practical advice for us that we can use. Thank you. So please now let us open our booklets to page 6 to read the essential dharmas of daily practice led by Michael.
Essential dharmas of daily practice. 1. The mind is originally free from disturbance, but disturbances arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the equanimity of our true nature by letting go of disturbances. 2. The mind is originally free from delusion, but delusions arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the wisdom of our true nature by letting go of delusions. 3. The mind is originally free from wrongdoing, but wrongdoings arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore precepts of our true nature by letting go of wrongdoings. 4. Let us replace disbelief, greed, laziness, and ignorance with belief, zeal, questioning, and dedication. 5. Let us turn resentment into gratitude. 6. Let us turn dependency into self-reliance. 7. Let us turn reluctance to learn into willingness to learn well. 8. Let us turn reluctance to teach into willingness to teach well. 9. Let us turn lack of public spirit into eagerness to serve the good of all.
So let's open our booklets to sing the morning prayer song. I believe it's page 10. 9, thank you, page 9. Dharmakaya Buddha, fourfold grace, I begin a new day in your presence. Today, full of health and with peace of mind, may I walk along the path of the Buddha. Dharmakaya Buddha, fourfold grace, I begin a new day with your grace. Today, gratefully and with gentle words, may I live in harmony with all those I meet. Dharmakaya Buddha, fourfold grace, I begin a new day with compassion. Today, making the world a more loving place. May I do all that I can for one world. And I have a few announcements to share with you. And a very special announcement. It's so special that we had to make 2 flyers for it. So this is September 28th. This is our annual music concert. So we have our local musicians playing in this concert, and also our kyomonims, our ministers, will sing. And we'll start with sound bath, and we have a community garden. Some people lead that community garden, and we will have harvest some of our vegetables to share with all of you. And we'll have a clothing swap, which is always fun. So please come, bring your clothes, and one more thing, potluck. So if anybody wants to share and bring a dish, please let us know. So that will be a very special day. That, again, is September 28th, and it starts at 10 and ends around 2-ish. And then we have a week-long retreat coming up in October, second week in October. You can see the online or in the foyer flyer for that. And other retreats that you can see end of year and things. So thank you for your practice today. May we all have the courage to put our practice into our daily lives, one step at a time. See you next week.